how YouTube changed my life. There's been so many times where I've thought, it's time for me to quit. So many times. And I'm so glad I've persevered and I've kept going. Okay, so one of the ways YouTube has changed my life is it allowed me to have a career change. So before where I am working at the moment, I was working in purchasing and supply chain as a buyer, and I was buying contracts, buying parts for the steelworks and a construction company as well after that. And I actually had a master's degree in purchasing and supply chain management, which I can tell you now, I was at my most miserable. The amount of times I'd probably gone to the doctor asking if I got depression, because I'm literally the most miserable person on the planet. I was honestly miserable, and I'd been doing it for about 4 years straight out of uni, so I felt like this was my career now. I have 4 years experience in this, and if I change careers, I'm gonna have to take a pay cut. Until I found YouTube. I started YouTubing. I didn't really have that many subscribers, but I was also doing TikTok and Instagram as well. And I was actually headhunted to go and work for a TV company in their social media side of things, based on all my experience on my own YouTube channel. So since then, it's been about 5 years since then now, and now I'm working in an organisation where I am the videographer who does all the videoing, all the editing, all the recording, and that is my job, and I'm getting paid way more than I would have been if I was still a purchaser and a buyer in an industry that I absolutely despised. So sometimes we think about YouTube as making money on YouTube, but we don't really think about the opportunities that can come outside of YouTube as well. So I just really want to hit home at that point. Like, starting YouTube will open opportunities for you, whether that be within the app or outside the app. One huge thing doing YouTube gave me is confidence. And even though you kind of need the confidence to get on YouTube and get behind the camera and speak to yourself, basically, it's the confidence that you build as you do that. So my first video was so embarrassing, so cringeworthy, and it makes me shiver thinking about it now. You won't have seen me on YouTube before because this is my first YouTube video, so cut me some slack if I'm a little bit cringy. I do apologise. But as I've gone on and as I've been doing more and more videos, my confidence has grown massively behind the camera, which can help you in all walks of life. So it can help you in your day-to-day job, it can help you in public speaking. It really kind of helps you understand how you're portraying messages and how you communicate. And, you know, a lot of the time I forget my G's in words like minging, hating, and I am conscious about this. So it's making me a little bit more confident as I go on to start thinking about remembering my G's in words, which I do in work. I try and remember to use my G's in work. So I think it's not always just about being confident to get behind the camera, but it's actually how it makes you confident in real life as well. So I definitely would urge anyone who wants to get started on YouTube to have the first instance confidence to get behind the camera, but actually see how your confidence grows as you progress on YouTube. It's a huge benefit, and one that I would definitely say is worth any risk that you're thinking of. One thing that YouTube has really, really changed my life with, something that I've struggled with my whole life, and that is committing to something. I kid you not, my whole life I have never been able to commit to a hobby or a job or literally anything. I've honestly done violin, cello, harp, dancing, cheerleading, gymnastics. Honestly, the list goes on. That's when I was a child, and as I go through to adulthood, I also couldn't commit to anything. I had 4 jobs in purchasing and in supply chain, then I went for the television, then I started my own business, and I pivoted my business, and then I've started another business, and honestly I have never ever been able to commit to anything in my whole entire life, and I understand this is a personality trait and nothing to do with whatever I was doing at that moment in time. I just honestly need constant dopamine, and doing the same thing for longer than 3 months isn't dopamine enough for me. But YouTube has been different. It's the only thing that I've actually committed to for a long time. I've been making content on YouTube since 2019, but I've been taking it really seriously for 2 years now. And honestly, 2 years is the longest I've ever committed to anything in my life. But I think it's because I gave myself a service level agreement to say that I need to post at least once a week or 52 times a year. And I've stuck to that. I honestly have stuck to that. I have either posted once a week, and if I've missed a week, then I've made up the extra video within the month. And it's something that I've stuck to, and it's actually helping me to commit to more in my life. It's showing me discipline. It's teaching me discipline. I've got an audience. I need to make sure I'm uploading every Sunday. I need to stick to these deadlines. These are all things that I've struggled with my whole life, being able to stick to deadlines and changing my mind. But YouTube has allowed me to be more consistent, be committed, stick to deadlines. And it's just a skill that's really building up over time. And I will not lose that SLA to myself, service level agreement to myself, of uploading at least 52 times a year. I'm gonna do it, and I'm not letting myself down on this time. Like, I am not getting bored of this. And the good thing about YouTube is, if you are getting bored of a certain type of video or anything like that, you can switch it up as long as you've got a loyal fan base, I suppose. But yeah, literally the way it's changed my life is showing me how to be committed to something and dedicated, and yeah, have that kind of service level agreement with myself. Okay, another way YouTube has changed my life, it gives me motivation. So this is different to the commitment, because I don't always have the motivation to do the videos, but my commitment enforces me to do so. But what YouTube gives me is the motivation to do stuff. So most of my channel is about home, DIY, renovation. And I always get people saying, how are you always doing stuff to your house? How are you always redecorating and making your house look nicer and things? And in all honesty, most of the time it's to make content. You know, I'm improving my life, improving my home all the time to make content for YouTube. And I love doing it, so it's not a hindrance in any way, shape or form, but it just helps me get stuff done. So if I have a project outstanding, knowing I need to post on every Sunday gives me the motivation to do the task at hand. So it's not just teaching me motivation to do things in the house, but it's teaching me to get motivated for lots of things within a deadline. Otherwise, I honestly just wouldn't get anything done ever. So again, YouTube has changed my life. It's shown me how to have commitment, motivation, confidence, and it's changed my career as well. So I think we're doing pretty good here with YouTube. I can't see any negatives at the moment. Okay, and this point I think is why most people probably start YouTube, and that is the money. So I got monetized back in July, so I have not been monetized on YouTube for very long. But I thanked myself for being committed to this, because I could have easily given up a year ago and then I never would have been monetized. But I kept going with it, and even though some days I was putting videos up and they're getting literally no views, and I'm just thinking, like, honestly, what is the actual point of doing this? And then I thought about of all of the non-money related things that helped me on YouTube, and those are the things that I've just discussed. But now I finally have been monetized, and honestly I feel like the world is my oyster. All it will take is one video to do really well, and then more people will find my channel, and you know, you never know, this could be a single source of income in the future. But at the moment I'm seeing it as kind of like pocket money. I'm making enough every month for Google to pay me monthly, which is great because I obviously work full time, so having just that extra pocket money on top of my salary every month is a real benefit, a real bonus as well. And here in the UK you can earn up to £1,000 on a side project before you have to pay any tax, so that's not too bad. I get to keep most of it. So I think that's a really good point. You don't have to be on YouTube and earning the world, but it can be a nice little bonus to your salary every month. And another way YouTube has changed my life, I have been able to work with some amazing brands. So as you can see here, I'm in Alex's office and we've recently finished a collab with Lick where they gifted me this green O2. I also did the bathroom there, which is White03 from Lick. I've been able to work with Roomix and do different paneling in before we renovated the bungalow. I've worked with Gemini to raise a campaign about their summer sale after being a customer of theirs. I've also got a collaboration coming up with Origin Beds and Mattresses, so stay tuned for that. But that's another huge benefit of doing YouTube, is you get to work with some of the most amazing brands. And I actually interviewed a few years ago for a job at Lick. Unfortunately, I wasn't right for the role. It was a bit junior to what I was used to and I wasn't really willing to travel to London. But I just thought, how amazing, like the fact that I've been working with them. I would never have got an interview otherwise, I don't think. But it's because I knew them personally that I was able to get an interview. So it's just like things like that. I could have got a job at Lick and been working there and probably had, you know, the best time ever. But it's just things like that. That if you never start YouTube and start networking and start making friends with different brands and people and, you know, following each other on LinkedIn as well, like there's so much more to YouTube than just making videos and getting paid from YouTube. And then I suppose my final point is like the community that you create as well. Like there is a community of renovators on YouTube, for example, and I'm following a lot of them. There's a lot of them in Cardiff actually, which is great because I could get to see very similar renovations happening in my area, which is nice. So there's like this community that you can create online as well, and it doesn't have to just be online. For example, some of my favourite renovators, they collab and meet up and do renovations on each other's houses. So obviously we're not in a situation where I could maybe propose that at the moment, but I just think that's amazing and that's something that could happen in the future for me as well. But for now, I'm happy with what my progress is on YouTube. I'm going to keep plugging away. I'm going to keep to my service level agreement with myself to make sure that I am posting at least 52 times a year. And yeah, I'm just going to keep showing up, even if I don't get any views, even if I am cringy to some people online. Who even cares? Who even cares? As long as you're doing you, I would urge anyone who wants to start YouTube to start, and it's one of the best things I've ever done, and it's the only thing I've ever committed to in my whole life, longer than 2 years, so I think it's going pretty well. I know this video is a little bit different to what I usually do, but I just felt like the end of a year, the start of a new year, it was kind of good to reflect on why I think YouTube has actually completely changed my life. And it's not all about being monetized, because lots of these things happened before I even got monetized. Like I said, only in July this year, which was very welcome. But yeah, had lots of amazing things happen before the monetization process. So I hope that inspires at least one person to start YouTube or start on TikTok or Instagram or whatever new platforms will be out next year. Then I'll be happy. I want to say Happy New Year to everybody, and I will see you in 2025. Hugo says bye. So stay tuned because I do have that collab with Origin coming up, and I will see you then.